10 seconds. You're good. Okay. We will restart after that 3-minute pause. It is now officially 5 o'clock. This is the August 10th meeting of the GBC EDC. We have been called to order. We have established a quorum. Please stand for the invocation and pledge, please. Father, thank you for the opportunity that you've given us to gather and try to take care of the business of the city, business of the citizens. Pray that we'll do everything within our power. We'll keep cool heads should conflicts arise, and we'll meet any challenges we have with honesty and integrity and openness. Pray for our first responders, our police, our fire, our military, etc. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
Thank you. I'd like to publicly welcome, it was done in a Zoom meeting previously, our newest board member, Mr. Brian Kroll, down here on the left end. Brian, thank you for your willingness to serve. Item 3 is citizens' comments. Comments from citizens are limited to 3 minutes each. No action may be taken. Mr. Rob Ray, I have 2 requests to speak, general condition and budget. Assume you want to speak on one now and one when we discuss budget? Yes. You can approach the podium, please. State your name and the city you live in, please, sir.
My name is Rob Ray.
There's a microphone up here if it's more comfortable. You're 12 inches from the microphone.
There you go. How about that?
Okay.
My name's Rob Ray. I am a business owner and a homeowner in Gun City. Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. My name is Rob Ray, and like I said, I own a business and a home in Gun Barrel. I've always tried to not criticize or complain unless I have a suggestion as to how to fix a problem. And you, my friends, have a problem. That problem is that you've been emasculated and disrespected. Not to mention being asked to give blanket approvals for expenditures when the bylaws and the budget dictated that you could not give those approvals. The bottom line is that you were set up for failure by circumstances beyond your control. In a moment, I'll propose a solution for this, but first, I feel that a little history might help to clarify for you and the citizens the root of this problem. I'm speaking to you as a past president of the EDC and a former city council member. The occurrences of this last week was once again an embarrassment for our city. Since the council passed the ordinance which put the executive director over the board of directors, there's been a problem after problem. They're asking citizen volunteer board members to do just whatever the ED wants. That in itself is disrespectful. The way that 2 members of this board were suspended without any investigation was disgusting. Just as the president of this board said at that city council meeting, quote, investigate them and if needed, then suspend them. That council decision goes against one of the most precious freedoms in our country, which says that one is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Those 2 were guilty of nothing more than questioning the financial decisions of the last executive director. Her charges were that these 2 impeded economic development. Under the current structure, no board member has the power to impede anything. They should be reinstated immediately, and I hope that with that reinstatement comes a public apology to them from the city council members who voted to suspend them. It was disgraceful, and it was a message to all of you, play along or we'll get rid of you. We have now had 2 consecutive executive directors leave office under questionable circumstances. Given the substantial salaries that these 2 got from public funds, I believe the citizens deserve to know the exact reasons for these departures. To quote one of our elected officials, quote, let the truth shine and wave it like a flag. My guess is that we'll never get an answer. I suspect that these reasons for termination may be embarrassing to one or more of the higher-ups. In my opinion, the EDC board operated well and thrived in the times when there was no executive director. The structure at the time did not give the board carte blanche to spend as they pleased. There's always the proper need for city council approval. In those times, the board members were partners with the Gun Barrel business community and helped them to make their businesses more successful. I've been told that this board was discouraged from visiting businesses, and here's the result. I did a little impromptu survey on my own by physically visiting or speaking to 22 business owners or managers along our main street. 96% of them had had no contact with anyone from the EDC. The other question that I asked them was, did they have a positive, negative, or neutral view of the City Council and the EDC? 84% of them had a negative opinion of one or both of those entities. That has to change. Now here's the solution. The ordinance that turned the structure of the EDC upside down was initiated to save the job of the penultimate ED that had very close relationships with certain elected officials, and then subsequently created a monster with the last ED. My solution is to repeal that ordinance and get back to the way our city was set up for good reason. Let the ED bring projects to the board for their approval, and then let the board forward them to the city council for its approval.
Mr. Ray, pardon me, you're approaching the end of your time. If you could
Okay,
wrap
I'm
it up.
sorry, two more sentences. It worked that way for years. That is, if there's even a need for an ED. I understand that the current admin is very capable of doing the proper background work. If a new ED is desired, then let the EDC board interview prospects and choose who they would like to work with and bring that choice to the city council for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Robin, these are the only two citizens' comments we have, is that correct? Okay, citizens' comments are closed with the exception Mr. Ray has registered to speak again under line item budget. Item 4, adoption of minutes. May I have a motion, please? We're speaking of the minutes from the July 13th regular meeting and the July 27th joint executive session with council. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from July 13th, 2021 meeting and July 27th, 2021 joint executive session.
Ms. Johannes, was that you?
Yes, it is.
Thank
Sorry,
you. Do I have a
Johannes.
second?
Colored second.
Have a motion and second. Open this for discussion. Hearing no discussion, we will vote from my left, please.
Kroll, yes.
Wire, yes.
Lawrence, yes.
Colored yes.
Bond, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item 5, adoption of financials for June 2021. Do I have a motion?
Colored motion to adopt the financial statement from June 30th.
Have a motion by Ms. Collard. Do I have a second?
Kroll, second.
Have a motion and second. Discussion? Ms. Collard, I have one question for you as treasurer. Have you reviewed these financials?
I have not reviewed the P&L sheet. I mean, prior to getting my packet.
So it's tonight the first time you're looking at the packet?
Earlier today.
Okay. Are you happy with it? I mean, you feel it's fair representation? I'm asking for an opinion as a.
On a cursory glance, I would say Yes.
Okay.
I've noticed no red flags when signing checks and looking over things in the past.
Further discussion? I'm sorry, were you through?
Yes, I'm through. Thank you.
Further discussion? Vote from my left, please.
Kroll, yes.
Wyrick, yes.
Lawrence, yes.
Colored, yes.
Bond, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Motion passes. Item 6, Director's Report. Due to Ms. Cooper's no longer being associated with the EDC, Mr. Skanes, the mayor, will give this Director's Report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council met last week, as you know, and as a result of that, the outcome was that Robin Sikora, is that pronounced your last name right? Sikora, and I would be acting until we get a consultant in to be an interim executive director. We have visited with and talked with the principals with the Pier 334 project. They're fine, they're okay, they're still gung-ho on the project, we're still moving forward. We have talked with a consultant with HDL who handles economic development and who has done numerous partnership deals, and he will be working that project for us in a sense. So that may end up being our interim ED as well. That's kind of the way it was brought about, was to that. I've got to go back to council and talk to them some more about how this is going to play out, but that's what it looks like right now. He's very experienced in it, and we haven't got a contract from them yet, so I'm waiting on that contract to come in, then I'll get back with council. Also working to get a recruiter to hire a new CEO of the EDC. Hopefully we'll get that done within the next few weeks, get somebody on board to start that process. Council did decide that they'd rather go with a recruiter this time, and so we'll see how that plays out, but that should be about a 4-month process for them to get somebody hired. So we'll have an interim until that point in time. And I'd also like to tell you that for last couple of years, we have been enjoying a continuous increase in sales tax. Looks like we'll end up at around 15% increase in sales tax this year. So that's a lot better than we've been in the past. Usually it's been single digits, around 5-6%. So we're kicking it pretty good right now. I don't have a lot more to report on other than that. I do have a couple of things on some of the agenda items that I'll talk about when we get there. But nothing else as far as a general report at this point in time. Didn't have a lot of days to put that together. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any questions for the mayor? Hearing none, we'll move on. Item 7, discuss and/or take action to approve a sponsorship at TEDC. For those of you that don't know, TEDC is the Texas Economic Development Corporation, of which Ms. Cooper was a member. Do I have a motion on this?
I want to make a motion, we table this.
Have a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Second, Johannes.
Okay, motion to table by
Ron Wyrick.
Mr. Wyrick and second by Mr. Johannes. Discussion? Hearing none. we'll
Actually,
vote.
I have a quick question.
I'm sorry.
Do we have a deadline on this?
Robin, do you know?
Yes, the meeting is in October, if I'm not mistaken.
So when does the sponsorship need to be in?
There's a limited number of sponsorships if you choose to do that. So I don't have an answer for that question because each different level of sponsorship, the way I understand it, has a different frequency, a different number that is available. So The $2,500 one is, had 4 available, I believe. That allowed for 2 people to attend the meeting, and I think you probably got the same packet I got that tells you everything on that.
It just doesn't have a
Yeah.
date when they're due.
No, I'd like to know why Mr. Wyrick would like to table it.
Well, I just think we need to wait on this here until we get I just don't understand enough about it yet on all this here to.
You didn't research it before you came to the
But no,
meeting?
I just got this, matter of fact, I just got this here today,
Oh,
the package on it, so.
were they just available today, Robin?
available?
Friday,
Thursday?
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 I didn't get, nope. I picked,
Part of,
it
you
was sent
know,
out, it was sent out, and what would come in on, overlooked on mine, this wasn't in the package, it was sent out to me. So I didn't have it, so couldn't look over to see what all it was about, so,
well, it's not
wasn't
that
able-
it's not that I necessarily agree with spending $2,500 for a sponsorship to EDC, but I highly disagree with continuation of tabling items because we're not prepared.
okay, well,
So,
understand you, noted.
Mr. Wyrick, would you consider amending your motion just to, that we take action and then, I mean, I'm like you, I don't know that, I'm looking at what the $2,500 seems to bring us, and I'm really not sure what the value is without us having an executive director that's going to be there and
Yeah.
what the point of networking is in the given situation. So I see your heartache about it.
I can pretty much assure you, we won't have one in place
not
by
gonna have
Right,
one
so,
by
I
then,
mean,
so,
right, so let's, I mean, if you're comfortable to amend that so that we could vote on it,
we can, okay.
to
we
vote
can
no,
amend
I mean, your amendment can be,
it. Table is, could be same thing.
Or
Well,
take
I can
action.
amend it, go.
Mr. Honest, would you like to propose a friendly amendment?
yes, that we take action on this with the intention of, and understanding that we do not have an executive director that will be in place to attend the meeting.
Okay, then we can vote yes or no.
Right.
Mr. Wyrick, would you?
I'll second it,
Would you accept that as a friendly amendment?
yes.
And Mr. Honest, you seconded that, did you not?
Yes, I did.
So would you accept your own friendly amendment?
I will accept my own friendly amendment.
Second it, okay. So now we will be voting to approve a sponsorship at TEDC. Any further discussion? Vote for my left, please.
Kroll, no.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your,
Kroll, no.
no, okay. Mr. Wyrick?
Wyrick, yes. Wait a minute.
The,
It's, see, this is what throwing me off.
well, okay, the motion is going to be to approve, is that correct, Mr. Honest?
Yes, the motion is to
You- you
approve,
can
but you
vote
can
no
vote how
if you'd
you
like.
want to, yes or no.
Okay, no means not to approve it.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're clear here.
All right,
Because
Mr.
Once you change, I tabled it, I knew that was going to kill it.
Okay, we're
Yes.
going to start the vote over. Mr. Kroll?
Kroll, no.
Wyrick, no.
Lawrence, no?
Collard, no.
Bond, no.
Johannes, no.
Okay, motion fails. Thank you. Item 8, discuss and/or take action to approve a sponsorship for the Rotary One Hot Havana Night in the amount of $1,500. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Collard, motion to approve a $1,500 sponsorship for the Rotary fundraiser One Hot Havana Night.
Motion by Collard. Do I have a second?
Bond, second.
Have a motion and second. Any discussion?
I got discussion on this here. This has been brought up probably many years in a row to sponsor the Rotary clubs into this here. We have other people out here that comes to us wanting us to sponsor them, and it's been backwards and forwards, and we stopped sponsoring everybody here unless they were actually doing some function here in Gunboro City itself. And myself, it'd be like us sponsoring the flyover over in Tool. And myself, when it's sponsorship, something that's actually going to take place here in Gun City, I don't see any problem with that. But sponsoring something that's outside of Gun City, I have a problem with it. So I just want to let the board know that's where I sit on it, so.
How is Cedar Creek outside Gun Barrel City?
Do what?
It's the Cedar Creek Lake Rotary Club. I'm just curious as to how it's outside Gun Barrel City,
Well,
since Cedar Creek is part of.
We just, over the years, we keep bringing the same thing up every year, and it come out, we just stop doing any sponsorships. That way we'd be fair to everybody. So once we start doing sponsorships, it's sort of like the Lawnmower Racing Association, we give them the property up there. We didn't do no sponsorship there at all for them, and they come to us just for the property, or they let them race. And they wanted sponsorship, and we said we didn't have the money to sponsor them, so. That's where I'm at here on it too.
Being new, what does our $1,500 sponsorship get us? I mean, what are we,
What are we getting
what does
at?
that entail for the
Should-
$1,500?
I believe it's a table and something in the program. Do you, well, that tells what the Rotary Club does, but it doesn't tell you what you get for your sponsorship.
The 1,500 is not a line item amount that's mentioned.
No, it's not.
I assume it would get tickets to the fundraiser. This is a civic organization of which there are many that are certainly very worthwhile organizations that are funded by public and private donations. A lot of individuals, a lot of businesses. I would tend to agree with Mr. Wyrick. I don't feel it's our responsibility as the EDC to fund these, though they are worthwhile causes. Further comments or discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Please understand the motion is to approve a sponsorship for $1,500. If you do not want that to happen, you need to vote no. If you do want that to happen, you need to vote yes. We'll move to vote. From my left, please.
Kroll, yes.
Wyrick, no.
Lawrence, no.
Collard, yes.
Bond, no.
Johannes, no.
Motion fails 4-2. Moving to item 9, discuss and/or take action to approve a budget amendment for fiscal year 2020-2021. That is in your packet. Do I have a motion, please?
Motion to discuss or take action to approve a budget amendment for fiscal year 2021, so we can have discussion.
I have a motion by Ms. Johannes. Do I have a second?
Bond, second.
Have a motion and a second. Open the floor to discussion.
Mr. Mayor?
Am I understanding this is the one that says the second budget amendment? Is that
Yes,
what we're looking
yes,
at?
that's what it is. Let's let the mayor explain what he'd like to on this, and then we can ask questions. That is,
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to answer much of your questions on this budget item, but I do have a comment about the amended budget, since we're looking at amending it, that's not included in this amendment that needs to, in my opinion, needs to happen under Texas state law. Y'all, back in March, voted to let the admin assistant work 40 hours a week until the money ran out. That's kept on going and will ongo in Texas law. The way I understand it, and I'm not a lawyer, but the way I understand it is if you work 1,000 hours, if you work over 32 hours a week, you are eligible for TMRS if it is part of the package of your other paid personnel. So I would ask that y'all, if you adopt amended budget, that you include the necessary funds to make that happen. And I would recommend that she just go ahead and be made full-time from that point in time, because she's working 40 hours a week, and she's got in over 1,000 hours already this year, which well over that, but didn't get paid for any holidays, doesn't get any vacation time. She has waived the medical insurance because she has insurance through her husband's employer. But the TMRS, the holidays, and the vacation time, I think, should be included in her package as called for in the personnel policy of the EDC. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, from a timeline standpoint, would you recommend that possibly we table this for a month and let our treasurer get with the bookkeeper and get this massaged a little bit, or?
I'm agreeable to that if you would like.
Okay. We'll continue discussion because all we're doing is discussion. At some point, I'll entertain a motion to approve or a motion to table with the caveat that this amended budget will be, Brandy at some point in time will sit down with Angela and kind of get all these numbers. Angela would have those numbers, so that's certainly my recommendation. Further discussion? Okay, the motion is simply to discuss at this point. May I have a motion to approve or a motion to table with that caveat, please?
I'll make a motion, we table it under discussion too. I'm looking here on the first page of this here where it says income, it says sales tax of $588,000 and goes down to loan prices, and it's got a $500,000 to it. It doesn't say what it's for.
Okay, Brandy, I'll ask you the same question. Have you reviewed this in depth?
No.
Could you sometime before the next board meeting, next regularly scheduled EDC meeting, sit down with Angela and try to understand these numbers and get everything updated, please?
I would absolutely like to discuss this with Angela first.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, do you have something to add?
I was just going to answer Mr. Wyrick's question. That $500,000 is the loan proceeds of payments coming in, I believe, is what it is intended to reflect. I do not know how accurate that is, but I do believe that is the number that is reflecting. EDC has several outstanding loans that are being paid back to them, and they've added some this year. So, again, I don't know the accuracy of this, but I believe that is what that item is for.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah. Income.
Okay. So we have a motion to table with the understanding that Brandy Brandy can do it. Get with Angela. Brandy, if you want me to go with you, I'd be happy to, and get this straightened out and organized and coded per previous requests, et cetera, and get Robin's full-time, et cetera. Making Robin full-time would need to be on the agenda for the next meeting because we're currently under, as the mayor stated, the previous board vote of not to exceed. So since we're bumping up against that, we'll need to add that to the agenda. Robin, if you could get that done, please. Further discussion on the motion to table. Hearing none, vote for my left, please.
Did we get a second on that?
Second.
I'm sorry?
We need a second.
Yeah, we need
I thought we had a second. You're probably right. Okay. Mr. Wyrick has a motion to table with the previously discussed caveat. Do I have a second?
Collard, second.
And a second. Thank you. Now, further discussion? Hearing none, we will vote from my left, please.
Kroll, yes to table.
Wyrick, yes.
Lawrence, yes.
Collard, yes.
Bond, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Motion passes. Item 10, discuss and/or take action to approve a budget for fiscal year 2021, 2022. Mr. Ray, you registered to speak at this time. If you would take the podium. For the record, if you would, please state your name and city you live in again. Again, you're limited to 3 minutes.
My name's Rob Ray, and I'm a resident of Gun Barrel City. Once again, thanks for letting me address the board. I'm speaking this time because it's directly related to your budget agenda item, and that lets you answer some questions if you choose to. The line item that I'd like to address is the Pier 334 project. This project is very important to our community, and I'm absolutely behind it. I'm extremely pleased that after myself and Stephen Schiff negotiated the purchase of Big Chief and caught some flack for it, that Ms. Cooper and YNS, the developer, evidently think the property is worth $1.5 million. After a purchase price of $500,000, making 3 times your money in just a couple of years is a heck of an investment. Not to mention it gave the city ownership of one of the most unique pieces of property on the lake. I fervently believe this proposed project is more than worthwhile. However, this is the time to make sure that the deal is structured properly. And that brings me to one of my main questions, and that concerns the financial structure. I've read the performance agreement several times, and I'm concerned about how the EDC is going to recoup its investment. My understanding is that YNS is going to hire a management company to operate the property. I find nowhere in that YNS discloses their proposed agreement with the management company. My question is, if the EDC is going to get north of 16% of the net profit, how are you assured that after paying the management company that there will be any net profit? Bookkeeping is a difficult game. How do you know that YNS isn't going to own a piece of the management company and shows no net profit in perpetuity? I believe a better deal for our city would be to sell the property to YNS and subsequently owner finance it for a very low interest price. That would give the EDC a good return and also give the city some protection if the project does not work out. The other feasible way to structure this would be to get a percentage of the gross proceeds, obviously less than 16%, but that way it doesn't matter what YNS chooses to spend money on. I guess if I'm incorrect in this assumption, since Ms. Cooper's gone, I guess the question would fall to the EDC treasurer if she wants to set me straight.
I can't.
Okay.
I don't have the answers to the question you're asking.
Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Okay, we are in item 10, discuss and/or take action to approve a budget for fiscal year 2021, 2022. I will entertain a motion.
Motion to table the budget. Collard?
Motion to table.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to table by Ms. Collard? Do I have a second?
Second?
A motion and a second by Mr. Wyrick to table. Discussion? Ms. Collard, would you accept a friendly amendment with a similar caveat that within the next month, we've actually got 2 months to submit this, so our choices are to see what you and Angela can come up with on this one as well within the next month, so that we can get it approved before our current budget expires, or leave it tabled for several months waiting on a new ED, which nobody knows how long that's going to take. So I would...
Yeah, since we don't know how long that would take, I would really like to sit down with Angela and go over some budget details. I don't like some things about the budget as it's presented, and I have some questions that I would like answers to.
Okay, do you accept the friendly amendment with the same caveat that you
Yes.
and Angela get it worked out, maybe
Within the month?
present it next month?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a recommendation that I think that's a good idea at this point in time, and to possibly we could bring in the city treasurer to sit down and try to get the budgets in line where they look and act the same, so that we can have smoother transitions of that information. So,
Great idea, thank you.
Mr.
Mr.
Lawrence?
Wyrick, do you accept that friendly amendment?
Well, I do. I tell you what we got right here, if, I hate to say, if the city city treasurer brought it to city council, looking like it's here, council just flip over backwards. But I thank you, Mayor, I appreciate that.
You bet.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Would it be possible for us to have a workshop in order for us to all have an understanding of this budget before we have to have it on the agenda? So either the day that we're having our meeting, can we meet a little earlier so that we can sit down and go through the line items and have better understanding so everybody's on the same page, please?
We can certainly do that. If we do that, we'll have to schedule it with Angela and pay her for her time.
Okay?
But,
Money well spent.
Seems
It'd
prudent.
be well spent.
okay, let's move with this. Ms. Johannes, are you offering that as a friendly amendment to the friendly amendment
Yes,
at a workshop?
yes, I will.
Okay. Mr. Wyrick, you now have a friendly amendment and a friendly amendment to the friendly amendment that we establish a workshop sometime in the next 3 weeks to get this ironed out. Would you accept that?
I accept that.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote from my left.
Crow, yes.
Wyrick, yes.
Lawrence, yes.
Collard, yes.
Bond, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. I should have been saying unanimously all this time. I'm sure Robin's captured that. Item 11, discuss and/or take action to approve a change of date for monthly GBC EDC meetings. I know nothing about this. Somebody want to speak to this?
I'd be glad to. Okay, so several years ago, council moved their meeting date. But they also forced that all information be turned in to the city secretary at noon on Monday, the week preceding the meeting. So that only allows your staff to get things ready. That allows them 3.5 days to get things to the city secretary. When we were fairly dormant, didn't have a whole lot of items going on, that wasn't a big problem. But about 2 months ago, I think we had 19 items from the EDC that hit city secretary all at one time because it took that much time to put them together. So the thought process was to move the EDC meeting, and this is up to y'all, this is what Gail's thought process was to move the EDC meeting to the Tuesday preceding this Tuesday, so that she would have, pardon? The Thursday before this meeting. So,
First Thursday of the
right now,
month?
you're meeting on the second Tuesday of the month, and it would just be
That'd be the
first
end of-
Thursday?
That'd be
First
last,
Thursday.
last
Be
of each
first
month.
Thursday is what it ended up being.
Well, I mean, if it's currently the second Tuesday, you'd probably gain what you wanted by making it the first Thursday.
That's what I said, yeah, first Thursday. And again, not what I wanted, well, it kind of is what I want as mayor, but because it would take some stress off of city secretary, it would take some stress off of your staff as well to get those things together, but that's y'all's call.
Makes sense. Thank you for that explanation. Okay, so the suggestion and the idea behind this is to allow the EDC staff more time to prepare and get things to the council as to meet the council's 10-day mandate. Do I have a motion to move the EDC standard meeting date to the first Thursday of every month?
I make a motion that we change the date of the monthly meeting for the GBC EDC meetings to the first Thursday of the month. Bond.
Motion by Mr. Bond. Do I have a second?
Crow, second.
Have a motion and second. Discussion?
Myself, right now, we're doing a lot of work here that's, the EDC hadn't done in a while, and I got a sneaky feeling it's gonna die down with staff and stuff, and to move our meetings, it's gonna throw the people off out here in Gun Barrel City. They've been used to the meetings the same time here every year, every month. To change it up, I don't see that big of a deal. If it don't get to city council to be approved, it gets to them the next, because city councils are getting to a point that they have so many special meetings now that they can move it into a special meeting whenever it comes up. So for us, just for that reason, I cannot see changing something that's been going on for a good long time. So that's just my point of view. I don't think we need to change it.
Not changing something just because we've never changed it, with all due respect, isn't really a good reason.
Well, it's just like city council. They used to have 2 council meetings a month, and they only have 1. And,
Because they changed it.
Since they got out of that there, it really didn't matter when you had an EDC meeting. It's going to fall in one of them no matter what it took place. But since they only have 1 now, at the end of the month, so that's why we were scheduled 2 weeks ahead of theirs, where we could get all of our stuff into them whenever we approved it.
But I will agree that 3.5 days is a tough timeline for the EDC staff
Yep.
to get things done. I will speak for this move, for this change. I think we can accomplish public notice by Facebook page and those that view this meeting, et cetera, if this passes. Further discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. We are voting to approve a change of date for the monthly GBC EDC meetings from second Tuesday to first Thursday of each month. Vote for my left, please.
Kroll, yes.
Wyrick, no.
Lawrence, yes.
Collard, yes.
Bond, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Motion passes 5-1. That concludes the business. Take a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
We are adjourned. Ms. Evans,